down, power lines are down.
Message of 290 characters follows.
Hey guys, welcome in to another episode of Grid Down Comms Up. I want to bring you guys a really cool piece of software today. This is a product of an idea that I had along with my friend Forrest Garvin. He put in the legwork to bring this thing to reality. It is so cool. I know many of you are familiar with the concept of an area study, where that you basically take all of the information surrounding your area, compile it, build it into a binder, maps, all kinds of things, so that you have a reference of the hazards and the resources and all sorts of things like that, all put together, where if there is an emergency, if there's a disaster, if the end of the world as we know it comes to pass, then you have all that information together ready to go, and you can utilize it when that you need it. It's a great way to track events as well. So we created a software that lets you do all this on a computer. And yeah, of course, you can save it and export it as a PDF. You can save it and back it up, move it between devices, all kinds of stuff. It's really pretty cool. And it brings this idea of doing an area study into the 21st century. You know, a lot of us don't want to take the time to pen and paper, crayons and construction paper, something together and try to manage like a layer on Google Maps for mapping. It's a pain, and we don't get a product that we want. Plus, we got to go dig up all the information. Well, Area Study Map, which you can go and check out at areastudymap.com. If you're interested in getting a copy of it, there's a $50 off coupon code that you can use using Grid Down Comms Up. It'll save you $50 on the cost of the software. Get you a lifetime license for it. Now, I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how this software works, because again, I just think this is super cool. And it works offline too. You can download map tiles, map sections, and other information so that you can use this when the grid goes down. It's running on a Windows computer at the moment. I've also run it on my Linux computer and a Raspberry Pi. It will run on pretty much any OS, and it operates inside of a browser, so it's not too specific on the operating system that is required. So I'm just going to kind of show you guys around, and we're going to build a quick little mock area study in, well, I've got a section of North Carolina pulled up. We're actually going to zoom in just a little bit, and I think we're going to play in the Waynesville, Asheville area. I know some of my friends over there familiar with this area. So first thing that we're going to do, now that we've kind of picked the area where we're going to, quote, do our area study, is go over here in the bottom left side of the screen, and we're going to click Save Current View. And we're going to give this, we'll call this Western NC. And this allows us to go back to this one anytime we want to. Over here where it says Home Views, you can see I also have one labeled WNC where I was playing around earlier. I click on it, it takes you out to that much bigger view, and then we can go to the one we just created. Oop, takes you right back in. So if you needed to do a micro area study of another location, you wanted to map a protest or something, you could create a home view for that, and then you can switch back and forth really easy. So super, super cool kind of in how that you can do that. Now, I can just go over here anywhere I want to. Say, let's zoom in here in Waynesville. Give the maps a minute to load, because I'm not online and I'm doing this offline. So I need to pull some more map tiles in that I haven't saved. So let me get online here, and we will get some map tiles downloaded. Okay. Now, say many of you guys, you've been to Western North Carolina. You're maybe gone to do some, some different stuff while you're there, and you've been to visit Carolina Readiness Supply. Carolina Readiness Supply is right here on Montgomery Street. So let's just create a pin, and we'll call this CRS for Carolina Readiness Supply. We'll just leave that blank. You can put notes. Okay, we'll say survival/prepping gear. And we'll go down here and click add intel data. So we'll call them a resource. So we can go through here and pick different stuff. There's, we can actually add custom stuff, but for the purposes of this, we'll just call this a food resource. And go down here, we can take the type. We'll just mark it as other, and you can make other notes and all kinds of stuff. You can also upload an image. So you click here, and it'll let you upload an image. I think I actually have an image for Carolina Readiness Supply. Yeah, there we go. So we can upload ourselves an image here. Hit save. And we'll just go back to our location site. And if we go over here and enable our resource tabs, it should show right up. Yep, it's right there in gray. We have that. Oh, and I didn't click save. So let's go up here and edit this again because I didn't click save. All right. Add data, resources, food production, other, save. All right. Now we go back out. And we have our little icon with the information. Okay. Oops, I accidentally clicked somewhere else to create another one. So we have that visible there. And you can just create icons anywhere you want to, anywhere you want to add something. We can click over here. Let's see. We'll call this one the sweet onion. I don't know if you guys have ever eaten at the Sweet Onion in North Carolina. Great restaurant. And it's on Miller Street. And we'll save that. Click add data. And we'll just call this one a food production resource as well. I mean, hey, having other people cook for you is food production, right? All right. All right, we'll mark that as other. And hey, I think I've got an image of this one saved too somewhere. Yep. So we'll just go ahead and add that, and kaboom. Save that, hop out. See, we have another location. You can put all kinds of different information. All right, now let's talk about some of the other really cool stuff. Okay, you guys have seen me create map pins with information. You guys can do this for all kinds of stuff. There's threats, you name it. Just for kicks and giggles here while we're doing it. Let's just go over here and we will, let's just click on Asheville. All right, we're going to create a pin for Asheville. We'll just call this known civil unrest. Add some data. We will add threat data. Call this civil unrest gathering points. Asheville in general, risk level high. And we'll hit save. And now we have that. I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to turn on all of my different colors so I can see everything. Okay, so we got, because if you forget to do this, it can be problematic. And a few things are doubling up on me here. I got to sort that out. That is something with my install because I have been beta testing this for a while. So in the actual version, you guys shouldn't hopefully see the doubled up stuff. But anyway, so we can create pins, do that kind of stuff. See, I created 2 of them here. We can always go in and we can delete one. So, and when you leave, it always takes you back to your home view there. That's some of the stuff that you can do, just kind of creating pins and points and whatnot. Now let's talk about some of the other really cool things that you can do with this. So if we go over here in the top right corner, we can select street map. We can also switch it to satellite because, well, you know, if you're marking choke points, gaps through valleys, water, etc., you know, sometimes being here might be beneficial. So it's this, I believe this is Lake Junaluska. I'm not going to try to spell that because I will spell it wrong here. So we'll just call it lake, add data, resources, water, source type, pond. It's really a lake, but you know, whatever. It is not potable, so don't drink it without filtering it. Save, and boom, we got one right there. Okay. Now we have another pin added. So we can do that. We can switch back and forth between satellite. We can also look at topo. You can look at, you know, there's all kinds of different map options that you have here. So I'm going to go back to street map for a minute. You can click here for point info tool, and you can click anywhere on the map. And if it knows information, if there's anything accessible on the internet, it will tell you. So we're going to click the lake, and it's going to tell us our elevation, the lat longe, MGears, and the local time. And then we can just close this. All right, we have another option here that is really cool for all the radio guys. I know there's a lot of you guys who are listening. So let's go back to satellite imagery here for a minute. If we want to check line of sight between locations, say we want to go from here, and we want to see if we can communicate here with the shore of the lake, we can do that. And it will show us, oh, we are obstructed because I'm not actually on top of the ridge. So let's move that a little way. And now, oh, still a little further. Let me get on top. Okay. See there, you can see we're starting at 3,642 feet and headed all the way down to 2,279. So yes, we have a clear line of sight there. It will also give us the option here. We can set a height above ground level. So say our antenna is on a 20-foot pole. We can set that to 20, and then it'll recalculate for us with that height above ground level. Say it's a handheld radio. You know, you're holding it in your hand, roughly 6 feet above the ground. We'll just call that 2 meters. This is in feet, so never mind. That needs to be 6 feet. So say roughly 6 feet. You can add those height differences. It will include them. Tells you your link distance, which is 3.17 miles. Now, as we move down our list of icons on the left, we have this one that will tell us our weather in the area that we're looking at. So it's 46 degrees. Obviously, this is a grid up function, But if you're using this to battle track an event, or if you're using it for even disaster relief or something like that, and you have the internet, you can find out what the weather is. Look at rain, clouds, you can see cloud cover. It'll even show you wind information. There's all kinds of stuff that you can pull up here with that. We have a measuring tool, kind of like we have, over in Google Earth. You can measure distance. You can also measure an area, or you can measure freehand. And of course, it'll let you pick your units. So say I want to know the distance between this point and this point. It'll measure it. Okay. Or say I want to know the distance or the area in here. Okay, this is 1.49 square miles, the perimeter of 5 miles. Okay, and then you can also freehand it. There's a lot of things that can be useful here if you're trying to figure out the area you've got to cover, how big it is, all those sorts of things. All kinds of neat measuring tools. This is also a really cool one. This is a population estimation. So if you're curious how many people there are around your particular bug out location, well, this uses census data to figure that out. So if I click there, and then I click out here, well, let's see if I can remember how to do this. There we go. You got to do it all in one motion. So we do a radius of 1 mile here, so 2 mile diameter circle, and we tell it to estimate the population. It'll go pull the Census Bureau information. Tells us there is roughly 1,069 people in this circle. Pretty cool. Okay, we can hit refresh and let's do it again. So we look here over downtown Waynesville, and I didn't do that right, so we got to click and drag. All right, so estimate our population here. 5,746 people roughly in that area. So it's not exactly accurate, but it's a good way to estimate the amount of stuff. So now we can click on this particular icon and we can turn on circles that show us different things. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my regular zoomed out view here a little further. And if we turn on jails and prisons, we'll have to look over here a little ways, but we have a few jails and a few prisons around. This is not a all-inclusive list. There's going to be a few things that get missed, so you need to always double-check your information because this is just based off publicly available information online, but it can help you learn a little bit about what is in your area. You can also turn on hospitals, and one of the things about the hospital function here, this one really only shows public hospitals. It doesn't show private ones. There's another medical center option we have a little lower that pulls in some private hospital data, but that one only shows public stuff. You see, we have no military bases, but if I zoom way out here, you'll see, okay, now we have military bases. Click over here. We've got Camp McCall. We've got, I do not want to add a point over there. And when you back out, go over here, we'll click again. Military bases. There's Fort Bragg. Okay. So we have a lot of options for stuff that we can see, including nuclear plants. It's all the nuclear power plants around. So if you're curious about that, you can click on that, and then you can click here and it will tell you the name of the nuclear power plant. So there's McGuire. There's, that's my actual protest marker. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I think it's Oconee. So you can pull that stuff up, brings it into your area study. Now, obviously, if the grid goes down, then you won't be able to have access to this. But what you can do is, say we want to put this on our area study map. We can just copy that, and I'll drop a pin right here. edit this and we'll paste that information in. Save that. Now we have our nuclear power plant listed there. And let's see here. Infrastructure. No, not under that one. Not under that one. What's a good thing to put this one under? Frankly, I think we should probably put it under threats. So let's see. If we look under threats, do we have anything that really fits? Yeah, we'll just call this a industrial hazard site. And we'll give it a facility name and hazard type. Nuclear, radius of impact. You'd have to look this up for yourself. Let's just roughly say 50 miles. And, we could upload pictures or files or other stuff. And kaboom. We'll hop out of there. And now we have a pin down here that shows our nuclear facility. If we go over here, there's so many more layers of stuff we can pull in. I'm going to zoom in here and go back to my home location. I don't want to save home view there. I want to go to home view. So if you click on home here, it'll take you back to your home view. So we want to see police stations. Again, stuff's not 100% inclusive, but anything that it can find publicly on the internet, it'll pull in. Right now, you can see it spinning there. And it gave me a warning that it failed to load police stations, which means there was a problem accessing the website to get the data off of. It happens. And for some reason, that particular website resource seems to be offline at the moment. It's something you try again later because this is pulling data from so many other public resources and stuff. Sometimes websites go offline. So we click fire stations, and it shows you, most of the fire stations around. You click on it. There's the Clyde VFD. And, of course, if you wanted to make note of that, you could just create a pin to save it. We also have hospitals. So this is where you will get some of the non-public hospitals. We talked earlier about the other one just seemed to pull in public hospitals. This particular database pulls in not just hospitals, but regional medical centers, outpatient surgery, all kinds of things like that. We also have power stations, water treatment, dams, hardware, grocery stores, gun stores. I mean, it's pretty cool. Let's click that. And okay, well, this is, I think, Hazelwood. There's WNC Carry Firearms. So accidentally created that. That's something that when you're using a trackpad, unfortunately, you will find yourself doing frequently is accidentally clicking and doing that. But if you use a mouse, that's not really an issue. So there's all kinds of stuff. I thought the dams one was actually really cool. I had no idea that there were this many dams. These are not just like the big hydro dams that you see, but they're small stuff too. Like, some of them are just like private dams. Some of them are like fish hatcheries. This is Lake Jane Dam. Okay. Apparently there's a dam at this lake. So let's switch to satellite. And you see it's an earthen berm dam. So anything that's listed, I guess, with the Army Corps of Engineers pops up here that there's a dam. We zoom in there. I don't know. So it pulls in lots of stuff, that I had no idea existed. Grocery stores, campgrounds, wells, and water is also, I think, kind of interesting. Brings in commercial wells and other resources that you may not know exist. And again, a lot of this is it's pulling public record information. And then you can bring this into your area study. So you see it pulled up quite a few things. and anything that is in public record. Yeah, you can do this. White Oak Spring. I have no idea what White Oak Spring is. I found several of these. I'm going to go drive and check them out because I think it's cool. Had no idea that some of this stuff existed. And some of these things like fire hydrants and cell towers, flood zones, some of these things, they don't, depending on your area and how much of this stuff is in public information, you may or may not get any hits on that. You know, it's one of those things. We switch on Superfund sites. If you guys know what EPA Superfund sites are, they're places that are considered highly important to be cleaned up by the EPA because of potential hazards of toxic stuff. So here, you know, we have a place called Chemtronics in Swannanoa. We've got CTS of Asheville. We've got Blue Ridge Plating. And you can click here, and it will take you to the EPA site. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but it'll take you to the EPA site, and it'll try to pull up what information that is available there. Really neat, really cool. You got AM/FM broadcast facilities, Kiwi SDRs. This is another cool one for kind of grid up use. I had no idea that there were so many SDRs around. Like, you know, here's one near Asheville. And you see they're popping up all over the place. And you can, this is in Bakersville, you can click the open thing here. It'll take you to a web page, and you can use the SDR to monitor and listen to stuff there. Really, really cool. You can do webcams. There's also earthquakes. So you see right here when I pop that one up, there was an earthquake here the other day in Blaine, Tennessee. So, you know, just all kinds of stuff that you can check out and explore kind of your world with this application. And then you can save what of that stuff you really want to save. Another neat one is you can do route planner. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to Street Map and say we need to get out of Asheville. And we're going to go from here to here. And we're going to here, and then we're going to head down towards Columbus. And then, you know, maybe we're bugging out somewhere over there. And it tells us our distance. So this is 53.37 miles. Obviously, the closer you put the pins together, the more accurate this is going to be. We have 5,764 feet of elevation gain and 6,811 feet of elevation loss. There's a lot of up and down, up and down. And walk estimated at 20 hours and 45 minutes to do that. And you can just kind of go along here, and it tells you the elevation as you go in reference to distance. Pretty cool little thing. You can set routes. You can calculate routes, you know, as you go. And do, you know, some kind of neat stuff. And that's really one of the fun things with this is you can do so many neat things and locate and build and put in so much really cool information. You can also, if we go over here to settings, we can click on settings, and this tells us what's new. And so it's telling me, if I check here, update available. And yes, there is an update available, and it's automatically updated it for me. So now we have the newest update. You can see I'm running on a free trial at the moment as we're testing that function as well. You can set your default map layers. You can set yourself to light or dark. Don't click the panic button. This is Forrest's idea of a joke. You guys can find out on your own. You can set to manage offline maps. And this will kind of show you the area you want to download for offline use. You can just select an area and tell it which area that you want to get for offline use. Pretty cool. and that stores it on your hard drive. Make sure you've got some room, because if you do a really big one, you can end up with a lot of stuff tied up. There's a backup reminder, because you should back up your work and probably keep it, on a backup like a USB drive or something. So if your computer dies, you don't lose all of this hard work. And it has a reminder, and you can set it to pop up ever so often, particularly early on when you're building and you're making a lot of modifications and changes. Back up your work in case you break something. And if you don't like being reminded, you can disable it. So here is where we all do our backups. You just come here to settings, you click download backup, and it will download a full backup. You can also restore. You just go find the file and you can restore that backup. You can also use this to move all your information between computers. Like I have this on my laptop I'm using now, but it's also on the Linux desktop in the Ham Radio Shack. And I just dumped the download and then restored it to the Ham Shack, and I've got all the data there. You can also export a PDF report. It prints out a sheet with a list of all of your points on it and all the information you've entered. So if you want to put that in a binder for off-grid, you can do that. You can also share. So say I want to share a point or set of points or an entire home view. I can set the home view, and then at that point, like say we want to do the Western North Carolina, I set a radius from center, which is in this case 25 miles. It's got 4 sites. I'll hit next sites, and then it will let me export this package to send to someone else. So you can email it over to them, and then they can bring that into their map. So if you want to share it with, say you're doing an area study of your bug out location, you want to share it with everybody in your mag, you can do that. You just export it, send it over. Say you're doing a area study of a prepper camp in Saluda. You can do all that, export it, send it to your buddies. And then you can also protect it with a PIN if you don't want people to be able to access to it. You also have, this is Data Manager. So if you click this, it gives you a full list of all of your locations. If you have a lot of them, you can use the search function. You can also flag incomplete or empty ones. So if you need to go back like I do and on mine that are incomplete, and I need to go and add some stuff and tweak some things, you can find them that way. If you need to delete them, you can select the ones you want to delete. So it gives you a good way to manage your data. And then, last down here, we have map pins. Or not map pins. We have your security pin. So if you need to change your pin, when you first set this up, you're going to be prompted to create a 4 to 6 digit pin. That's how you gain access to it. Just a little bit of security. Change that there. And then, of course, if you need to, if you're in here playing like I've been, and you want to completely blow out all the playing and start over, you can just click clear all data, and it will give you a fresh start. So let's go back here, take a look at our map. We say over here on the left, you have your ways to view intel, and you can check, picture, all the different subsets of data you can turn off and on. It is super, super granular in what you can do. So you see, you can here do flood-prone areas, there's just so many options of how deep that you can go in and granularly set up your information. We have a notebook option here where you can just create a new note, and you can just make notes to yourself, checklists, whatever. You can go in here, produce that, things to do, or notes about whatever you guys can imagine. I know you all are creative. And then we have field notes here, which allow us to do drawings and stick things in and show routes, things like that we want to add. So like we start drawing, we want to draw a route, go up here and grab a pen And I haven't done this before. This is a new function. So, we draw our route down through here, and we're going to go and right there. And then it saves their drawing. And now we have routes listed here. We can turn that route off and on in our field notes. And of course, hey, we want to change our color. You click here and you can customize your colors. Now, the sky is really the limit. You can change the size of your line here if you want to. I mean, guys, customization is, it's crazy. And you can go through here and, edit your field note categories. You can add new categories. Like I said, because I've been building and playing, some of my stuff's doubled up where I've imported 2 sets of data, and I got to clean mine up. So, but you guys, you understand when you're playing and experimenting with something, sometimes you make a little bit of a mess. So, exit out of that, get my map back up here. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here. Resources. You can, these are some of the resources where you can search stuff. Like here, voter information. You want to find out, so you can figure out which way your neighbors vote, put that in your area study. Some information on our partners, discounts, stuff Forest is adding. Who knows what's going to show in here? That's going to be something continually updated. I'm sure Forest will have lots of fun with. There's documentation. You have your stats, so you can pull this up and you can see all the different things that you've added and put in, and that kind of thing. You can also manage your categories and fields. Like I said, mine duplicated up a little bit because I pulled in an old data set from a alpha version of this, and I need to go through and delete the duplicates here that just had a couple of things in them originally, and now we fixed it and have the full set of options now undefined. And then you want to create a new category. You can create a new category, and you can call it we'll just call this radio stuff, and then we can add all kinds of field names, whatever we want to. And make that a number, and then we add another field, picture. So I'll have to go through and figure out how you add pictures and stuff to these things. There's all kinds of different stuff that you can add and customize. Like we could stay here all night playing with this stuff. We really could. So yeah, tons and tons and tons of stuff. There's our backup reminder that we need to do a backup. We go to our home view here. So that is the area study map software. So if area studies and learning about your area, collecting information, putting it in is something that you're interested in doing, then this software might be the software for you to take a look at. So I'll put down in the description link to the software. Like I said, I've got a discount code. If you use Grid Down Comms Up, you save $50 off a copy of the software. And it's like I said, it is really cool what you can do with it. I've got to sit down and dive more into my personal area study and do some work in this. I think also, it could have some potential use in disaster relief and that kind of thing. If maybe your church or you have a group that does that kind of thing, you can zoom in and go through a neighborhood, and you can put pictures and the release form to help somebody out on their property, or all that stuff you can upload, manage inside the software like this. And if you've pulled all the information down prior to going in, you don't have to have the internet to do it. In a day and time when everything is grid dependent, this is not. And like, for example, here, I'm just going to, from this view, we'll go in here to settings, and we're going to make sure I have manage offline maps. So let's get the offline maps for this. All right. Play with my mouse a little bit here. So I want to get this. That is almost a gigabyte worth of data. I don't think I'm going to download that right now. But say we want to download all the map tiles for let me get zoomed out a little bit here. We'll do all the map tiles for downtown Waynesville right quick here. So got to get my icon back. This is what I get for trying to do this with a trackpad instead of using a real mouse like an adult. Okay, so we want this space. All right, that's 24 tiles. Let's download all of those tiles. And now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to turn my internet off. So Wi-Fi disabled. All right. Now we are going to go back to this and we're going to zoom in on Waynesville. You can see, oh, I ran out of tiles there, but I have downloaded all of this and I am completely offline, no internet involved. Thank you guys for tuning in, checking out this pretty cool piece of software. Like I said, if it's something you're interested in, check it out at areastudymap.com. Use GridDownCommsUp as a coupon code. And as always, like, subscribe, and share this with your friends to get this out there and spread around. And it helps my channel grow by getting some more views on it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a wonderful rest of the week.